Good morning. One additional point to cover in regards to Kiddush is what happens after we've concluded Kiddush prior to washing. Typically, when drinking a shear, the appropriate size of a drink that would obligate us in a Bracha Achrona, we would recite immediately after drinking. We wouldn't wait for a later time, but we would recite it immediately. That shear, when it comes to wine, is typically assumed to be a revius, which is anywhere between 3 and 5 ounces. Although the Shulchan Aruch does bring an opinion that that's even possibly as small as a kazayas, which would be 1/3 of a revius, even less than a mali lugmav. As we discussed previously, most assume that the minimum shear to drink is a mali lugmav, a cheekful of wine, which would be less than a revius, but more than a kazayas. However, some will hold that it's even preferable to drink at least a revius. Or if someone just wants to drink more and they drink a full revius, certainly they would become obligated in a bracha achrona. So why don't we say bracha achrona before washing, or should we? The Shulchan Aruch writes that even though one typically recites a bracha rishona on wine, even in the middle of a meal, one should not recite a bracha achrona because it is included in birkas hamazon. Similarly, he writes that birkas hamazon, that when benching, that exempts wine that was drunk before the seuda as well, because it is considered to be a prelude to the seuda, to the meal, as opposed to other drinks before a meal, which would possibly require a separate bracha achrona, not our topic for now. However, the Bir Halacha points out that even though this is the way that Shulchan Aruch rules, that the wine both from before and during the seuda are included in the birkas hamazon, it is not so clear, he says, from the Rishonim. And in fact, he quotes the Ramban, Ran, and Tosos, who were all of the opinion that one must recite a separate bracha achrona for the wine, which was drunk for Kiddush, and that would not be included in benching. And therefore, he says, even though we don't rule like those Rishonim, and we do hold like Shulchan Aruch that one need not recite a bracha achrona, and it is included in the birkas hamazon, the Bir Halacha suggests accordingly that one should try, first of all, he actually says, to drink less than a mali lugmav of the Kiddush, not a full revius. However, he admits that that wouldn't even solve the issue because, as mentioned, there's an opinion in Shulchan Aruch that even a kazayas, even less than a mali lugmav, would obligate one in bracha achrona. And therefore, he suggests at the end of the day that when benching, we do assume it includes the wine from before the meal. But he says that one should have specific intent when benching that to include that wine. That we shouldn't just assume it's included, but that one should specifically have intent to include that wine which was drunk before the meal in that birkas hamazon in order to avoid any doubt. So again, when drinking Kiddush, we drink the amount, and even if whether we drink a revius or a mali lugmav, according to some, we are for sure obligated in a bracha achrona. The consensus is that we do not recite the bracha achrona on wine before the meal, and it is included in the benching. However, the Bir Halacha, out of concern for those Rishonim who would require a bracha achrona before the meal, he says, therefore, we should try to have specific intent to include that wine within the bracha achrona. Have a great day.